welcome to Coily Crowns. I'm Ashante.
And I'm Lori, and welcome to our Queendom.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and share our videos. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about Black history. So yay, February, happy Black History Month. And we're going to start the discussion with just talking about our introduction to learning about our history. So Lori, tell us a little bit, what are some of the first things you remember growing up and learning about Black history?
Oh, I don't remember really learning that much about Black history. I'm sorry. I know we learn, of course, every February something in school, or, we'll have little projects that we have to do. Um, but in terms of Black History Month in America, I don't know. I just remember little things, like the big things. It wasn't until I got older that I kind of knew a little bit more than just the Martin Luther King or the Malcolm X or the Rosa Parks.
Did you
That
watch
kind of thing.
movies and things like that?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
See, totally different experience for me. I remember in elementary school, our music teacher, the black guy, Mr. Jackson, he had us learning and singing all the Negro spirituals. We watched all
Really?
the movies. What was it? Eye on the Prize, I think was the PBS documentary series. And this was like fourth grade. So I started learning about Black history pretty early on. And then I remember, again, like you said, usually February we learn the same people, the same
Yep.
historical figures. And
Yeah.
then in middle school, I had a Black teacher, and she had us not just for Black History Month, but learn all these different facts and learn about other people that weren't just the Martin Luther King Juniors and Malcolm X and all of that. So I remember learning and watching a lot of the documentaries and movies growing up, but ashamed to say I've forgotten some of it. I think, like
Mhm.
you learn so much that I realized that you learn as a kid, and then you don't use it, you end up losing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I think that makes sense of what you said. I don't remember having that many Black teachers, which I know there's a push now that we need to have more Black male
mhm.
teachers, especially. But growing up, I'm trying to remember how many I knew, and I think I could say two women teachers and one Black male teacher. That's it.
That's about the same for me, honestly. Though, like, if I saw on Facebook the other day somebody post about who's your first Black male teacher, and so
Oh.
the music teacher I was just talking about, and then the coach
Mhm,
were the Black teachers I had in elementary
mhm,
school. And
mhm.
then middle school, I had one. High school, I didn't have any. They were there, they just weren't in any of the classes that I took. So
Mhm.
I had limited number as well.
Yeah.
So what do you have a plan? Have you thought about how you're going to introduce Black history to Noel?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to learn more information myself. I recently bought a book. It's covered over here, or I would show it to you which one it was. Let me get it. But one of the things that I wanted to do is kind of just implement it in our normal lives, not like, oh, this is just something that you need to know, but actually why it's relevant to our everyday lives.
Yeah.
So I had bought this book recently. Can you see it?
Delighted in way. Read it. What's the title?
1001 Things Everyone Should Know About African American History by Jeffery at C. Stewart. So
Okay.
I got it on Amazon. I don't know if anybody recognizes it. So yeah, and it's like broken down in like really, you know, small bite-sized pieces. And then you can of course do your research to expand upon that knowledge. But at least it gives me kind of a starting point because terrible,
Oh,
terrible, you know.
Yeah. Well, good. At least it's something to start with. I've always been into learning that. I hope to, if I have kids, be able to teach that as well, or I'll be teaching Miss Noel and help you with that.
Please.
But I think it is important that we all learn about our history and not just keeping it within 28 days of 1 month. It is
Yeah.
every day should be, we should acknowledge Black history
Mhm.
and the contribution that our people have made to this country, not only this country, but to the
Right.
world.
Mhm.
So great, great. So we're also today are going to test our Black history by doing a Black history quiz. I have not seen the questions, so I'm a little nervous about how this is going to go, but Laura, I'll let you lead this next segment.
Yeah. So I've seen some of the questions. I don't know the answers. We're going to discover this together and see what we know. And then you guys that are watching, you can also take this quiz along with us and see how many you get right. And if you don't get it right, we'll learn something new today. How about that? So the first question is um so it's a Black History Month quiz, and they all have four options for each question. So the first question is this president officially recognized Black History Month. A. Gerald Ford, B. Lyndon Johnson, C. Jimmy Carter, or D. Richard Nixon. What do you think?
I think it's going to be later. Jimmy Carter.
Um, I'm gonna say B. Lyndon Johnson. Okay, we're both wrong.
Ford.
Yeah, it's Gerald Ford. A.
Okay.
Ugh, won't get that wrong ever again. Two. What university did former First Lady Michelle Obama graduate from? A. Princeton. B. Stanford. C. Yale. D. Harvard.
She went to Princeton for undergrad, and I want to say she went to Harvard for her law degree.
Oh
Not
man,
sure. So
I
we'll
was
say
gonna say Princeton. So
okay. Well, undergrad was Princeton, so it can be, that should be right.
okay, yes, we got that one right.
Yes.
All right, so A. Princeton was the answer.
Okay.
Number three, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech, which I recently heard is not called that. That's not the name of the speech, but I'll continue and then I'll talk about that. Where did he give it? A, during a sermon at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia. B, at the swearing in of President John F. Kennedy.
Nope.
C, at the end of the march from Selma to Montgomery. Or D, at the Lincoln Memorial during the March on Washington, D.C.
D.
D is the answer. And I was going to say that that is actually what the name of the speech is the March on Washington. That's what I heard.
I actually was cleaning up my mom's house and came across a program
Oh,
for the march, and
she went?
yeah. You know, I think I remember her mentioning she went, she was there, but I don't
Oh,
remember her ever really talking about it.
yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is something. So I don't know where it is. I have to find it again. I put it away with some other papers, but I was like, look at
Hmm.
that, Black history.
That kind of goes to speak to like those are the conversations that we should be having. I not just with your kids, of course, but like people. Like I was a part of this, because that's where history actually comes from. Is to having firsthand knowledge of something.
Mm-hmm.
Because the more time spans, things could be you know, messed with or things can change if those people don't say anything. So I think that's important for us to
It
share.
is. It's very important. My mom was like the historian for the families. She
Oh.
knew like so much about the family history.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that now that's like a loss that we've experienced. But it
Right.
is important to hear and talk to elders and talk about that. my mom grew up through doing segregation. She went to a segregated high school. And so I remember talking to her about what it was like living during that time. For her, she was like, it was fine. We had our own stores, we had our own movie theater. Like, it really wasn't like they missed out on things. So it was always interesting to have those little conversations with her.
Yeah. Okay, question number 4.
Yes, okay.
Which is widely known as the birthplace of hip hop? A, Harlem, B, the Bronx, C, Detroit, D, Chicago.
I'm gonna say the Bronx.
I know it's New York, so I'll go with the Bronx too. I don't know. Let's see. 4. Yep, the Bronx is correct.
Okay.
I kind of stole that point from you, so. All right, 5. Rosa Parks became famous for her role in inspiring which protests for civil rights? A, Freedom Rides, B, Montgomery bus boycott, C, March from Selma to Montgomery, or D, the sit-in movement?
B.
Montgomery bus boycott. Yes, I agree. Let's see. Yep, we are correct with that one. All right. I didn't think I was going to get this many points. So 6, the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution outlawed slavery in all of the United States in A, 1865, B, 1863, C, 1861, or D, 1849.
Oh, Lord, I never was good with dates.
Child.
Some tell me 1863, so I guess I'm gonna go with that one.
Okay, I'm gonna try 1865, which is A. Let's see. So 6 is A. 65.
Okay.
Lord, that was a guess. Number 7. Thousands of slaves made their way to freedom before the Civil War through the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad was made up of A, trains and tracks, B, stores and restaurants, C, secret routes and hiding places, D, tunnels and caves.
C,
secret routes and hiding places. This just reminds me of Real Housewives of Atlanta, where they were trying to think that the Underground Railroad.
What was that? Portia, right? Yeah. That's when we all have our moments.
I'm so sorry. All right, number 7 is C, secret routes and hiding places. Okay. Number 8. Black History Month falls in February because which 2 important historical figures have birthdays then? Ooh. A, Frederick Douglass and Rosa Parks. B, Frederick Douglass and Carter D. Woodson. C, Frederick Douglass and Sojourner Truth. D, Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln.
Well, Frederick Douglass for sure.
Oh Lord.
Carter was one of the last names, right? What was the
Carter Woodson? So that's B. Carter Woodson.
Okay, I'm sorry. Give me the names one more time. Not Frederick Douglass, but the other.
So A, Rosa Parks, B, Carter Woodson, C, Sojourner Truth, D, Abraham Lincoln.
I'm going to go with B then, Carter Woodson.
Yes. So B is what I would pick too. 8 is, okay, we wrong. What? Am I reading that right? Yeah. 8 is D, which is Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. I heard that Carter G. Woodson created Black History Month or came up with the idea.
But yeah, it started as a week.
So that's why I went there. Oh, the week.
Yeah, it started as a week when he was doing it, and then it evolved to a month. That's why I was thinking it was some kind of like honor of him for establishing it. Okay, so Abraham Lincoln, really? Okay.
Yeah. Who knows? I guess that's presidents. That's where President's Day comes from too, right?
I thought it was just for all presidents.
No, it's because it's close to some major presidents. I can't remember. I think it's Washington and Lincoln this month. So, all right. Number 9. Where is historically Black Central State University located in Ohio?
Ooh.
A, A, Wilberforce, B, Cincinnati, C, Columbus, or D, Dayton?
Dayton.
I'll say Columbus. I don't really know. I'm sorry. 9 is Wilberforce.
Okay.
Yay.
Ask me where
I don't even.
FAMU is. I can tell you that one.
Florida. See, I told you love Florida. I don't know why you
Or
hold back.
Howard. Tell me where Howard is. I
Oh,
can tell you that. Sorry about Central.
sorry. Number 10. The holiday Kwanzaa is based on Swahili phrase that means this: A, freedom, B, unity forever, C, first fruits, D, self-determination.
Ooh, I know nothing about Kwanzaa. Sorry.
I
Um,
learned Kwanzaa in elementary school.
you did.
I
Okay.
sure did. We celebrated it. Mhm.
Did not celebrate it. Knew about it, but that's all I could tell you.
And it was a
Let's go
white
with
teacher that did that.
self-determination. White guilt. Self-determination.
I like that teacher. We made fortune cookies and everything. She was
Oh,
all about the culture.
well, good. Well, good you had one.
That's that one. Okay. I'm gonna say Unity Forever B. So 10. C, first fruits. I guess I
Not
didn't
doing
learn
too
that
well,
one.
are we? Are you keeping track?
No.
Well, I guess listen, you're never too old to learn. We're learning some new things.
Oh my God, it's terrible.
Mm,
Okay, last
teach
5
y'all this.
questions. Number 11. I ran for US president in 1904. Is this A, Frederick Douglass, B, George Edwin Taylor, C, George Washington Carver, or D, Hiram Revels?
I have no idea. So C.
Okay, I'll
Who is C?
say
I don't even know who C
D.
was.
C is George Washington Carver.
Oh no, I don't think it was him, but oh,
I'm gonna say D. I don't know.
oh,
Hiram Revels. Let's see. Oh, B, George Edwin Taylor.
oh,
I
okay.
don't know. I don't know.
George Edwin Taylor. We have to look him up.
Yes. I wonder if he's the first though. I don't know. All right, number 12. I was nicknamed the Galveston Giant, and I am the first African American world heavyweight boxing champion. A, Muhammad Ali, B, Joe Louis, C, Jack Johnson, D, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Jack Johnson.
I don't think it's Joe Louis. Sugar Ray is too small. Muhammad Ali, I think he was never called that. Okay, I'll go with Jack Johnson too. You know who that is? Or
I've
you
heard
just
the
guess?
name before.
Oh, okay. So that's 12C. You're correct. I
Yeah.
kind of stole that from you, so I won't give myself a point. 13. I was one of the only 3 African American women who earned PhDs from American universities in 1921, and the only one to receive a doctorate in economics. Is it A, Sadie Moselle Alexander, B, Katherine Johnson, C, Georgiana Simpson, D, Eva Dykes? No idea.
D. I have no idea either.
D, I'll say C. 13 is A, Sadie Morsall Alexander. Gotta look her up.
Okay.
1921.
Sally.
PhD. All right. Number 14. I earned an Academy Award for my portrayal of Ray Charles in the movie Ray.
Oh, I know this one. I know this one.
Is it A, Jamie Foxx,
Mm-hmm.
B, Denzel Washington, C, Sidney Poitier, or D, Will Smith? I think you
A.
know this one.
I
This
know
one
that
was a
one.
throwaway. Yeah, that was Jamie Foxx. And then last question. My men's tennis singles titles at Wimbledon and the US Open were the first for a Black man.
Arthur Ashe.
A, huh?
Oh, go ahead. After Ash is my answer. Let me see. Make
Oh,
sure he is an
okay.
option though.
Yeah, okay. A, Jackie Robinson. B, Arthur Ashe. D, Dan Bankhead. D, Malval Washington.
Okay, Arthur Ashe. That's my answer. Final answer.
You are correct.
Yay.
Yay. So that was our little Black History quiz. Let us know how many you got correct. Cause
I would say good thing you weren't keeping count
no,
because,
I did it. I was just like, I'll go.
well, that was a great opportunity to learn some new things and some new names. And like we were
Yes.
saying, you typically keep hearing the same figures in
All
Black
the time,
history.
and we have so much that we can learn, and we have so much that we've contributed to the history of this country and the world, like what you said earlier.
Right.
So there's way more than just a couple of figures that they like to harp on all the time.
Yes, and we are still making history, which
Yes.
leads us to
Our
our
favorite segment.
Queen of the Week.
Yes.
Yes, so our Queen of the Week is Dr. Kismika Corbett. She is a 35-year-old viral immunologist and research fellow in the Vaccine Research Center of the National Institutes of Allergy and Infectious Diseases.
Woohoo.
She's the lead scientist on the team that developed the Mandela COVID-19 vaccine. So, thanks to her and her achievement in making Black history, she helped create one of the vaccines that was now being distributed around the world to protect us from COVID. And so,
Yay.
Dr. Corbett, we name you our Queen of the Week.
Yay. Thank you for your contributions to science and for trying to get rid of this pandemic that we're in. So I appreciate that.
Yes. So that's this week's episode. Again, we want to remind you to like, subscribe, and share our videos and join us in the comments. Tell us your thoughts on Black history. When
Yes.
did you first start learning about different figures in related to Black history? And if you know someone making Black history, shout them out in the comments. Teach us, let us know. There's so much that we need to learn, and we need to make sure that our future generations also learn about. So that's this week's episode. And before we go, we want to remind you to do what?
Protect your throne.
See you
Bye.
next week.